Pause for a moment before you scroll away. Something interesting happens in the first quiet second after your eyes meet a new image. Before analysis begins, before logic organizes what you are seeing, your attention quietly settles somewhere. One shape feels more noticeable than another. One detail seems to rise slightly above the rest. That moment is quick, almost invisible, yet it often says something about how your mind naturally moves through the world. Visual illusions are fascinating because they show how perception is not only about eyesight. The same picture can offer many different possibilities, yet most people notice one element first: a face, a pair of eyes, an animal hidden in shadow. Sometimes even a symbol quietly resting in the scene. None of those responses are mistakes. They simply reflect where attention lands before thought steps in. Your mind is constantly filtering the world around you. Every second it decides what deserves focus and what can fade into the background. It does this silently, guided by familiarity, curiosity, emotional signals, and sometimes by the experiences you are carrying lately. A person who has been thinking about relationships may notice expressions first. Someone navigating uncertainty might immediately search for signals or clues. Another mind might focus on patterns, shapes, or symbols that feel meaningful in a different way. These choices happen quickly because the brain prefers speed over perfect accuracy. Recognizing patterns fast helped humans survive long before anyone studied perception in a laboratory. Even today, that instinct still guides how attention moves. So in this exercise, the most important moment is the very first one. Not the answer you think is clever, not the answer you decide after examining every corner of the image, only the detail that quietly appeared first. In a moment, you will look at a visual scene containing several possible shapes. Each viewer tends to notice something slightly different at first glance. Your task is simple. Observe the image and allow your attention to settle naturally. Whatever you notice first is your choice. Do not try to improve it. Do not analyze it, just notice it. Because sometimes the smallest instinctive choices can reveal surprising patterns about how our attention works beneath the surface. And that is exactly what we are exploring today. Before we look closer at the image, there is one small guideline that makes this exercise more interesting. Try to rely on instinct rather than analysis. When people spend too long examining a visual illusion, the mind begins to switch from natural perception into problem-solving mode. At that point, the brain starts searching for the correct answer instead of noticing what appeared naturally. But this exercise is not about finding the correct answer. It is about noticing the direction your attention prefers to move. When a new scene appears in front of you, your brain does not scan every detail evenly. Instead, it quietly highlights something first: a certain shape, a familiar outline, a feature that feels emotionally meaningful, or perhaps a symbol that seems strangely important. This happens in a fraction of a second, long before you consciously decide what you are looking for. Psychologists often describe attention as a kind of spotlight. In a complex scene, there may be many possible things to notice, but the spotlight only lands on one area at a time. The first place it lands is usually influenced by habit, emotional sensitivity, and sometimes by what your mind has been processing recently. For example, some people instinctively notice human features first. Faces and expressions can immediately draw their focus, almost as if their mind is tuned to emotional signals. Others tend to notice eyes or small details that feel like clues. Their attention naturally scans for information, patterns, or signs that reveal what might be hidden beneath the surface. Some viewers quickly detect animals or shapes in the environment. This type of perception often reflects a mind that observes the surroundings carefully and reads patterns in a strategic way. And occasionally, someone notices a symbol before anything else. A key, a moon, or a heart may appear clearly to them while others barely see it at first. None of these reactions are better than the others. They are simply different ways attention organizes the world. In this visual exercise, you will see an image that contains several possible interpretations. Each one can appear clearly once it has been pointed out, but most people notice only one of them immediately. Your role is simple. Look once. Notice what appears first, and trust that first impression. Because the interesting part is not what the image contains. The interesting part is which part of the image your attention chooses to reveal first. Now it is time for the moment that matters most. In a second, look at the image on your screen. Do not study it too carefully. Just allow your eyes to rest on it naturally and notice what appears first. Most people discover that one element quietly stands out before the rest of the scene becomes clear. Some viewers immediately notice a face hidden in the image. Others are drawn straight to a pair of eyes looking outward. For some people, an animal shape appears first, often something like a wolf or a fox emerging from the shadows. And occasionally, a symbol becomes visible right away, such as a key, a crescent moon, or even a heart. All of these shapes exist within the same image, yet the mind rarely notices them all at once. Instead, attention gently chooses one, so take a moment now. Look at the image only once if possible, and allow your attention to settle naturally. Do not try to search for every possibility. Just notice the first form that becomes clear to you. Once you have it, keep that choice in mind. That first instinctive perception is the one we will explore together, because each option can sometimes reflect a different pattern in how attention moves through the world. If the face was the first thing that appeared clearly to you, your attention may naturally move toward the human side of a situation. Faces carry emotional information. Even when a face is only suggested through shapes and shadows, the mind often recognizes it quickly. For many people, this happens because their perception is quietly tuned to expressions, reactions, and the subtle signals people send without words. Viewers who notice faces first often have a strong awareness of the emotional atmosphere around them. You may sometimes sense tension in a room before anyone mentions it. A small shift in tone, a pause in conversation, or a slightly different expression can stand out to you, even when others overlook it. Your mind may naturally look for intention, meaning, and the story behind what people say or do. This tendency can become a powerful strength. It may allow you to understand people in ways that feel intuitive. You might be the person who notices when someone is uncomfortable, or the one who senses when a conversation is not as simple as it appears on the surface. Because of this, others may occasionally feel understood in your presence, even if they cannot fully explain why. However, this type of perception can sometimes come with a quiet challenge as well. When attention frequently focuses on emotional signals, it may become easy to feel responsible for them. You might catch yourself wondering whether someone's mood changed because of something you said, or replaying a conversation to understand what another person truly meant. In those moments, the mind can begin filling in missing information using patterns it has learned before. And while pattern recognition is useful, patterns are not always the full picture. A helpful shift can be surprisingly simple. When you find yourself interpreting someone's emotions or motives, it can sometimes help to replace the assumption with gentle curiosity. A small question can often bring clarity where imagination might otherwise create pressure. Another pattern that sometimes appears with face-first perception is loyalty. When you connect with people, that connection may feel meaningful and sincere. You might care deeply about maintaining harmony or supporting the people close to you. That quality can create strong and lasting relationships. At the same time, emotional awareness works best when it is balanced with boundaries. Empathy allows you to understand others, but it is equally important to remember that not every emotion around you belongs to you. If the face appeared first in the image, your attention may simply be reminding you of something valuable. You have the ability to notice the human story in situations where others may only see the surface, and when that awareness is balanced with calm curiosity and healthy distance, it can become a quiet strength that helps both you and the people around you feel more understood. If the eyes were the first thing you noticed, your attention may naturally move toward signals that reveal what is happening beneath the surface. Eyes are often associated with awareness. In everyday life, people instinctively look at someone's eyes when they want to understand whether a message feels genuine, uncertain, or guarded. Because of this, noticing eyes first in a complex image can sometimes suggest that your perception is drawn toward clues and subtle information. You might find yourself paying attention to small inconsistencies in conversations. A detail that does not quite match the story being told may stand out quickly to you. Even small shifts in behavior can sometimes feel noticeable, as if your mind is quietly scanning for patterns that reveal what is really going on. This does not necessarily mean you are suspicious. More often, it reflects a mind that enjoys understanding how things work beneath the surface. People who notice eyes first may learn quickly from experience. They tend to observe how situations unfold and remember the patterns they have seen before. Because of this, they may recognize certain outcomes early, sometimes before others realize what direction things are moving in. In moments that require awareness, this can become a very useful ability. You may notice warning signs early in a project, a relationship, or a decision. Your mind naturally gathers information and tries to understand how the pieces fit together. However, a perception style that focuses strongly on signals can sometimes create its own challenge. When the mind becomes used to scanning for clues, it may continue doing so even when the situation does not require it. Instead of resting fully in the moment, attention can remain slightly alert, quietly analyzing or checking whether everything makes sense. Over time, that constant scanning can feel mentally tiring. One gentle way to balance this pattern is to occasionally give your mind a clear signal that observation can pause. Simple actions that slow the body, such as steady breathing or briefly stepping away from analysis, can help the nervous system shift out of constant evaluation mode. Some people find it helpful to create small moments where the goal is not to figure anything out, but simply to experience the present moment without searching for meaning. If the eyes appeared first to you, your perception may be reminding you of something important. You have a natural ability to notice details that others may overlook. When that awareness is balanced with moments of rest, it can become a powerful form of insight rather than a source of constant mental effort. If the shape of a wolf or a fox appeared first in the image, your attention may naturally move toward patterns of independence, observation, and quiet strategy. Animals in visual illusions often emerge from the background only after the mind organizes shapes into something familiar. When someone notices an animal quickly, it can sometimes suggest that their perception is tuned to patterns in the surrounding environment rather than focusing immediately on human features. This type of attention often reflects a thoughtful and observant way of moving through the world. You may prefer to watch and understand a situation before fully stepping into it. Rather than reacting quickly, your instinct might be to gather information, notice how people behave, and quietly evaluate the direction things are moving. For many people, this creates a sense of inner stability. Even when circumstances feel uncertain, the mind begins looking for practical ways to adapt. Instead of becoming overwhelmed, attention shifts toward understanding the environment and finding the best path forward. If the animal you saw resembled a wolf, the symbolism often relates to awareness and resilience. Wolves are commonly associated with observation, loyalty to those they trust, and the ability to navigate challenging landscapes with patience. People who notice this image first may sometimes value independence and strength. They might feel comfortable relying on their own judgment and prefer relationships built on genuine trust rather than quick impressions. If the animal looked more like a fox, the symbolism often carries a slightly different tone. Foxes are frequently linked with adaptability and clever problem-solving. A mind drawn to this image may enjoy discovering creative routes through obstacles. When one path closes, attention naturally begins searching for another possibility. Both of these animals share an important quality. They observe their surroundings carefully before acting. That strength can help someone remain calm during moments of pressure. Instead of reacting impulsively, they step back, evaluate the situation, and then move forward with intention. At the same time, a strong instinct for independence can sometimes create a quiet challenge. When the mind becomes comfortable solving problems alone, it may gradually assume that independence is always necessary. Over time, this can make it harder to rely on others or to ask for support even when it might be helpful. Yet independence and connection do not have to compete with each other. Often the healthiest balance comes from choosing carefully who to trust rather than trying to handle everything alone. A small step toward sharing responsibility or allowing someone else to help can sometimes create more stability rather than less. If the wolf or fox appeared first in the image, your perception may simply reflect a thoughtful and adaptive mindset. You notice patterns in your surroundings, and you prefer to understand the landscape before deciding where to move next. When that awareness is balanced with openness to connection, it can become a powerful way of navigating both challenges and opportunities in life. If the first thing that stood out to you was not a face, eyes, or an animal, but a symbol such as a key, a crescent moon, or a heart, your attention may naturally move toward meaning and inner reflection. Symbols are interesting because they do not only represent shapes, they often carry ideas, emotions, or stories that the mind connects with quickly. When a symbol appears first in a complex image, it can sometimes suggest that your perception is drawn toward significance rather than simply recognizing forms. Your attention may quietly ask questions like, what does this represent? What does this point toward? Why does this feel important? Each symbol can carry a slightly different tone, so let us explore them gently. If you saw the key is often associated with discovery, access, and possibility. If this symbol appeared first, your attention may currently be focused on understanding how to move forward in some area of life. The mind might be searching for clarity, direction, or the next step that unlocks progress. People drawn to the key symbol sometimes enjoy solving problems and organizing situations so they make sense. When something feels confusing or uncertain, your instinct may be to explore until a path becomes visible. This can be a valuable strength. It encourages curiosity and persistence when facing complex challenges. At the same time, the search for solutions can occasionally create pressure if the mind feels responsible for unlocking every situation immediately. Sometimes clarity appears not through constant analysis, but through patience and allowing events to unfold gradually. If you saw the moon often carries associations with reflection, cycles, and quiet awareness. If the crescent moon appeared first, your attention may currently be leaning toward introspection. You might notice emotional shifts, atmosphere, or subtle changes in the environment that others pass by without thinking about. People who notice the moon symbol sometimes have a reflective nature. They may enjoy thinking deeply about experiences, understanding feelings, or observing patterns that emerge over time. This depth can create insight and emotional awareness. However, when reflection becomes very active, the mind may occasionally wander into overthinking. Thoughts may circle around the same question for longer than necessary, especially when answers are not immediately clear. Finding small moments of calm or creative expression can sometimes help balance that depth of reflection. If you saw the heart is perhaps the most direct symbol of connection and emotional warmth. If this shape appeared first, your attention may naturally move toward relationships, care, and the sense of belonging between people. You might value sincerity and emotional honesty. And you may notice moments of kindness or tension in relationships quite quickly. People who resonate with the heart symbol often care deeply about meaningful bonds. They may offer support easily and feel motivated to nurture the people and communities that matter to them. That openness can create strong and genuine connections. At times, however, a focus on connection may also bring sensitivity. When relationships feel uncertain, the mind might search for reassurance or clarity about where things truly stand. Yet this same sensitivity often allows warmth, loyalty, and compassion to grow naturally, although the key, moon, and heart represent different themes. They share something important. Each one reflects a search. The key searches for understanding and solutions. The moon searches for meaning and emotional awareness. The heart searches for connection and belonging. If a symbol appeared first to you, your attention may simply be pointing toward something your mind is exploring right now. And sometimes recognizing that direction is the first step toward understanding it more clearly. Exercises like this are not meant to place anyone into fixed categories. Instead, they offer a small window into how attention sometimes organizes the world. The mind is constantly filtering information. Every moment, countless details compete for awareness, yet only a few reach the surface of perception. What appears first is often shaped by experience, curiosity, emotional sensitivity, or even the questions your mind has been carrying recently. Because of this, the same person may notice different things on different days. During one moment, your attention might move toward human expressions. Another day, it might focus on signals, patterns in the environment, or symbols that feel meaningful. None of these directions are permanent traits. They are simply temporary highlights within a much larger inner landscape. This is what makes visual perception so fascinating. A single image can hold many possible interpretations, yet the mind reveals them one at a time. Each first impression becomes a small clue about where attention naturally travels when it is allowed to move freely. Instead of treating these impressions as labels, it may be more helpful to see them as reflections. They can invite curiosity about how you observe situations, how you notice emotional signals, or how you interpret patterns around you. And sometimes that awareness opens the door to a deeper understanding of your own attention, not as something fixed, but as something flexible, responsive, and always evolving. Now that we have explored the different possibilities in this image, take a moment to return to your original choice. What did you notice first? Perhaps it was the face, quietly emerging from the shapes in the scene. Maybe your attention moved straight toward the eyes, searching for signals and meaning. You might have noticed the outline of a wolf or a fox, appearing from the background through patterns and shadows. Or your mind may have been drawn toward a symbol, such as the key, the moon, or the heart. Each of these first impressions reflects a slightly different path that attention can take when it meets something new. Some minds naturally notice people and emotions first. Others scan for signals or subtle clues. Some observe patterns in the environment, while others are drawn toward symbols and deeper meaning. None of these paths are better than the others. They simply remind us that perception is not only about what we see, but about how our attention chooses to move. And sometimes that quiet first choice can reveal something interesting about the way we explore the world. So now we are curious about your experience. What was the very first shape that appeared clearly to you? Share your answer in the comments. You can simply write the word that matches what you saw first. Face, eyes, wolf, fox, key, moon, or heart. Many viewers also enjoy sharing where they are watching from, which makes the community feel a little more connected across different places. If this kind of visual reflection interested you, there are many other hidden patterns waiting to be explored. Sometimes a single image can reveal far more than we expect, simply by showing us where our attention chooses to begin, and the next image might lead your perception somewhere completely different.